Welcome to UK Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yukai Kachidori.
Hello, it's Yokai Kajidori here, and on behalf of my business partner, Trevor Stockwell, and the amazing team here at World Outsourcing Solutions, want to welcome you to this special episode of Enlightened Entrepreneur. You can find us at worldoutsourcingsolutions.com, where we specialize in providing business owners from all walks of life with highly trained, highly skilled virtual assistants. We are the go-to center of all your outsourcing needs based here in the United Kingdom. Hello, everyone, and welcome to World Outsourcing Solutions podcast. Today's interview is sponsored by worldoutsourcingsolutions.com, where we specialize in helping business owners with their outsourcing and other important business-related topics. Today's particular podcast is very important for business owners, and we have entitled it Data Analysis, the critical skills every business owner needs to know or needs to have and develop if you are to succeed with your business in today's market, especially when you're marketing online. My name is Yokai Kajidori, and today I'm talking with data analysis and expert Dean Levitt about the critical skills every business owner needs to develop when it comes to data analysis. Welcome to the call, Dean.
Thank you very much. It's a delight to chat about this stuff with you. Thank you.
Incredible. Now, Dean Levitt is a hands-on expert when it comes to data analysis and has graciously consented to this interview to share with us the various skills that you as a business owner need to master if you're going to be successful when it comes to data analysis within your marketing, be it online or wherever you're going to be marketing on. Once again, thanks for being with us, Dean. Let's jump right in. My first set of questions is about your background and your experience within this field so that our audience here can understand who you are, how you develop your skill, and how they can relate to you right away. So to get us started, could you let us know a bit about yourself in terms of your background, education, and of course your experience in data analysis?
For sure. Originally, I studied music in Boston in the United States, but I've always been an entrepreneur and I've had a number of my own businesses. And I really fell in love with data and realized the potential in analysis about 6 years ago. My previous company, Mad Mimi, was growing, and I realized that we were probably losing out on some opportunities by not fully understanding our customers and our audience. So we hired an analyst, and I didn't feel that the information I was getting from the analyst was actionable. So I started getting more and more involved myself in looking at the data and letting it inform our next steps. So that's really how I came to be involved in analysis.
Actually, before we jump into the next section of the interview questions I have, you mentioned that you were among the founders of one of the growing platform of email marketing, which is Mad Mimi. Would you talk to us about that journey a bit, and then we come back to the data analysis?
Sure. So my brother and I, my brother Gary, we had a music production company in New York, and it really was not doing so great. And we started sending out emails with some competitors with companies who would become competitors. And we didn't really enjoy the process of creating email newsletters for our business. So we started coding them ourselves. And then the idea came about to actually build an email newsletter platform. And after a slow start for the first year, it really started taking off. By 2009, it was doing great. It was very profitable. And then it continued growing to about 250,000 customers. And in the middle of 2014, GoDaddy acquired Mad Mimi.
Incredible. I love the story of how you started something from scratch and to a point where you sold your small business rather to another big company, and in the process you managed to a lot of millions, a lot of money in the process. And,
it was definitely very fair. The deal was great. It was a very fair deal, and it was definitely a delight.
Incredible. And by the way, I like your accent. You sound like you're from my neck of the woods in South Africa. Talk to us about that for a moment.
I'm sure. I'm actually from a tiny little farm from a small area called Knoppislaagte, which is about an hour outside of Johannesburg in South Africa. And when I was 18 or 19, I moved to the United States.
And then you unleashed your entrepreneurial skills right there.
Exactly.
And now you're based in Tel Aviv.
Yes, I now live in Israel. I've been here for a little over 1 year. And yes, it's a fun adventure.
Incredible. Well, let's get back to our subject here today. I get so excited when I hear how other entrepreneurs have started something, nurture it, and then sell it out and make a lot of money in the process, and then move on to other ventures. And I'm sure we're going to talk about your latest venture in a little while.
Yeah.
But before we jump on to that, what kind of things have you done in line with data analysis, particularly with tick-up analytics, so that people will know that you are the right person they should be listening to when it comes to data analysis, especially for the customer.
Sure. Well, I've always considered Mad Mimi to be a small business itself, even though we served tens or hundreds of thousands of other small businesses. I myself had to spend many years in charge of marketing and growth of Mad Mimi. I really built up a lot of experience in working with data. And one of the other things is that there's a lot of data involved in email marketing. And so I found myself coaching thousands of small businesses over the years on their own marketing and their own analytics, email marketing, general analysis concepts. So I've definitely been involved in data in one way or another for almost a decade.
Incredible. And, you've already answered the question I was about to ask, is would you consider yourself in the understanding of data analysis as an overnight success, or you had to work your socks off, to get to where you are and where you are exploding in your business?
For sure. I don't believe there's such a thing as an overnight success. There's a very common cheesy phrase that goes, it takes many years to become an overnight success. So it's really in the first year of Mad Mimi, my brother and I would actually work something like 18 or 19-hour days, and we'd sleep in different shifts. So even if a customer wrote in at 2 a.m, someone would be there to answer a question. And we worked hard. Even after many years and a team of 20 or 25 people working under me, I still was working 12 to 14-hour days. But if you love what you do, it doesn't feel exhausting. And in fact, I enjoyed it. So no, I don't consider myself an overnight success, but it certainly still feels like the time has gone really quickly.
Incredible. Well, it's obvious that you are the right person to talk about this subject we have here today. So let's just jump right in.
Sure.
What is the first skill every business needs to know when it comes to, to the subject we are talking about?
The very first skill has to be the ability to just define what you want out of your data. So what this really means is that you can't just look at data and hope that something will jump out at you. What you need to do is have a question or a hypothesis that you want the data to answer. And then you can act on that and let the data prove your hypothesis right or wrong, or provide that answer for you.
Incredible. And how would you say this is very important? In other words, why is this particular skill very important?
Sure. Well, without the skill, you end up almost paralyzed by the data. There's another cheesy phrase called paralysis by analysis, which basically happens if you look at a whole lot of numbers and you just sort of like, without any direction or discipline. And then you get paralyzed because you never know what to look at. It doesn't have any meaning. So once the data can't actually teach you anything on its own. Data will only tell you if you're right or wrong about something, or if something is going well or poorly. So if you use data to remove uncertainty, you have a question and you look for that answer in the data with very specific, with an idea of good or bad, then it can tell you what you need to know, and it can tell you if you're on the right or the wrong path. Right.
Maybe one of the business owners in our audience is thinking, okay, that sounds all good. Where can I use this particular skill in my business? They've just started, their business. When do they need this?
It's never too early to start thinking analytically. But again, it always begins with results. So at any point, if you have a question, whether it's should I sell a new product, or should I, is my ad campaign working? Should I advertise in the local newspaper? Any question you have that your gut tells you is the right question, or you are a little bit unsure, data will tell you if it's right or wrong. So the phrase is data-backed decision-making. Any decision you need to make for your business is probably measurable to some degree. And if you indeed measure things, if you say, should I do this, or should I take this action, and you let the data help you say yes or no, you'll be able to make good decisions that won't harm your business. You'll be able to recognize a bad business decision quickly and a good business decision quickly. And that means you can do more of the good and less of the bad.
Beautiful. Incredible. And, do you have any suggestion of the best way to develop this particular skill?
I'm a web analytics person. I tend to think of most things in terms of website traffic, but really anything, it can be applied to physical stores as well. It can be applied to internal metrics, to almost everything a business does has a number associated with it. Whether it's putting up a poster in a window, you can measure if you get more people walking in the door. That's a number. So to get started, you can either use a web analytics tool. If we're talking about web-based businesses, you can use Google Analytics. You can use one of the other analytics platforms, or you can just simply look at your revenue. I heard a salesman once say, and he was an offline salesman. He sold actual physical goods, and people said, well, how do you track things? He said, there's a really good way to track whether what you're doing works or not. It's called sales. So, you don't, there's a lot of...
blunt. He goes straight to the point.
If you clearly state, if you have your hypothesis and you have a number that can tell you whether it's moving positively or negatively, you can measure it. So while I tend to think of things in terms of online platforms like Teacup Analytics or Google Analytics or web blogs, it doesn't have to be any of that. You can really do it with any number, whether it's your dollars, whether you want to sell more to your existing customers, or whether you want new customers. Everything has a number. If you have a number written down somewhere, you can analyze your business.
Excellent. Let's look at the second critical skill that from your experience, you think every business needs to have in order to really to develop this skill.
The second most important skill, after asking the right questions or being disciplined enough to ask questions, is to be realistic. And that's also something that I find I often struggle with myself, is you say, okay, well, I'm going to do this action. I'm going to send out a newsletter, and I'm going to get 1 million new customers, and I'm going to suddenly be rich. Being realistic allows you to actually really learn and make small incremental improvements. If you're not realistic, you're going to be either confused all the time, or you're going to be always disappointed in the results. So the key thing is if you're realistic and you say, okay, I'm going to test this. The data will tell you if what you're testing is working, and if it's not working. If you're realistic, you can stop doing something that's not working, and you can continue doing something that's working a little bit, or you can say it's not working enough and try something else. Right.
And I'm glad that you've already answered, the second question, which was going to follow up on that, as to why is this important? Because it gives you, it will help you decide whether to continue with that or not. And again, how do you develop this particular skill?
I think it's all about testing small things. You develop the skill by testing things with low stakes. So if you're trying something that will make or break your business, you can't possibly be realistic because you're so invested in it. However, if you do small tests like a small sale to a segment of your customer base, you can admit yourself when something's not working and you can pivot quickly. But it's all about keeping the stakes low and making small incremental improvements.
Awesome. I like the fact that, with especially online now, with the tools that we have, it's much easier to see the data for the data to give you, the reasons at a much faster rate than before.
For sure.
What tools do you actually use, Dean, in your business, to test data, be it on your customer response or, whatever you're working on?
Sure. Well, I use Google Analytics often, and I hate to plug my own Teacup Analytics, but I use that too. And because Teacup tells me qualitative as well as quantitative data. So
incredible.
It's not enough to say I get 1,000 people from referrals. I want to know if that 1,000 people are engaged. So I use that as well. And then, like I mentioned earlier, any numbers can be used for analysis. So I actually just I look at small internal metrics as well, like how many customers took a certain action. And I simply look at that in Excel as well. And then I can just monitor that. But there are other really great tools. There's Metrics, which is a great online web analytics tool that deals with individual customers rather than the big picture. And so I'd say those are the tools you really need. If you want real-time analytics, there's a few apps that do that as well. But really, anything that gets your numbers in front of you is enough.
Wonderful. I'm thinking, you've covered two main skills that any business owner needs to develop. Are there any skills, that you think, if you want to be successful when it comes to data analysis, you use this, or those two, are pretty much sufficient to what we're trying to do here?
Good thing that I think is vital, and it's sort of a philosophical idea. And I call it growth versus optimization, or growth versus improvement. So any single channel that you have into your business, again, whether it's an online business and the channel are organic search traffic, paid search traffic, social traffic, fine, those are channels. If it's a brick and mortar store, it could be your morning customers versus your afternoon customers, your male customers versus your female customers. Anything that you have a channel, you can do one of two things to it. You can grow it, or you can optimize that channel. And what I mean by that is that if you have a channel that is performing well, like most of that channel are achieving your business goals, whether, let's say, it's buying a product. So most men who come into your store buy your product. So great. So you don't need to optimize. What you need to do is grow. Whereas the women coming into your store, you're getting a lot of women coming into your store, but they're not really engaged with the product. They're not buying your product. So that channel you need to optimize. And if you look at almost any analysis that you make from this perspective of is this channel the channel I need to grow or the channel I need to improve or optimize? You can take the right actions. So instead of growing a channel that you need to optimize, it's far better to optimize before growing the channel. So a good analogy is the leaky bucket analogy, right? So you want to plug any holes in your bucket before you add more water, being the growth idea. So it's the growth or optimize. You can apply that to any customer channels, and you'll know what action to take.
Beautiful. Wonderful. And thanks again for sharing those critical skills. One of the things that often business individuals ask me when I get to speak in conferences, on any subject is, what sort of a mindset do I need to have when I'm going into this area? I want to ask you the same question. What sort of a mindset do a business owner, needs to have a success with data analysis, or to have positive feedback or feedback that they can actually make use of?
I think it's discipline. You need to have discipline. Obviously, there's things like an open mind and a willingness to test. Those are very, very, very important, but you need the discipline.
Right.
And what I mean by that is you need discipline to say, here's the problem. You need discipline to say, I'm going to try and fix it. You also need discipline to say, here is the line that I'm going to draw, at which point I'll consider my actions a failure or a success. Without discipline, anything you do with analysis is likely to sort of fizzle out.
Right. Thank you for that. Is there anything else other than discipline, that the business owners need to really be on the lookout and say, this is the mindset I need. I need this thing to work for me?
Testing. I think an open mind to test a lot of small things is vital.
Yes.
And it really goes hand in hand. And so one thing I like to really, really beg people to keep in mind is simplicity. Often people don't test things because they feel that they're not going to get 100% accurate or precision, rather, let's say. And that the point of analysis is to decrease uncertainty rather than perfect 100% certainty that this is right or this is wrong. What instead you're doing is you're saying, I want to do something to improve my business, to grow my business. How sure am I that this is the right direction for me or the right action? The data can make you less uncertain. It can never make you 100% certain. It's just it's not a realistic perspective, but it can make you less uncertain. And at some point, if you need to accept a little bit of uncertainty, which is why you test and you try and fail as quickly as possible, so you can move on to fixing it. But really, along with discipline, I think that's the other most important thing.
Beautiful. Once again, thank you for sharing those critical, lessons, with our listeners here. Now, I know for a fact that some people wants to know if you've got anything to offer, anything, for those who may want to work with you, over a long period of time. Can we take some time to talk about that for a moment?
Sure. I would love anyone to try out Teacup Analytics and reach out to me through Teacup Analytics, and I'm very happy to help review your web data with you, chat about it, and even brainstorm what some potential actions could be. Very happy to do that.
All right. Okay. What is Teacup Analytics? Can we have a brief understanding of that?
So Teacup Analytics is an analytics platform built on top of Google Analytics. And what we do, one of the key differentiators between Google Analytics and Teacup Analytics is that we look at your past performance and we analyze it. We say, okay, here's your average performance. Here's about average for your general website performance. And then we look at your current performance this week or this month, and we say, each channel is performing above average, below average, and we grade everything. So you can very much at a glance see which channels are underperforming or overperforming. And it goes back to that growth or optimization concept. If you have a channel with an A+ performance, you know that's ripe for growth. And if you have a channel that's got a lot of traffic, but is a C or a D grade, you know that you can optimize that and gain a lot of benefit by fixing those holes in the bucket, if you will. And one thing that Teacup really does well is if you do take an action and tell Teacup that you took an action, we track the results and make sure that it statistically significantly moves the needle in the right direction.
Incredible. Where can they find this particular help? Do you have a website to share with the audience?
Absolutely. teacupanalytics.com, and you'll get everything you need there, including a free report as well. So you can also get my email address or email support@teacupanalytics.com anytime.
Incredible. Just to wrap up our time here together, you have been absolutely wonderful, Dean, sharing your knowledge and your skill with our listeners here. And a lot of them, of our listeners, are business owners, startups. They are looking to expand their business, or they're going into business for the first time. What do you know now as a business person that you wish you had known back then when you were starting even Mad Mini in 2007? Would you share with our listeners that?
Sure. There's a few things probably. One of the hardest lessons to learn, and even today, after a lot of experience and some success, I still tend to panic when small things go wrong. And the fact is, you don't need to worry when small things go wrong. It's far more useful to put that energy into finding the quickest, simplest solution. And that's something that I really wish I'd known. You spend so much money that you waste on big, complex solutions to small problems. And really, it's so much better to go for a simple solution to a problem than a big solution to a problem. And yeah, that's okay. So let me clarify. That's two things I would say. One, don't panic. Two, simple solutions really are beneficial, both cost-wise and for your customers.
Incredible. Really appreciate your time here with us. Are there any final words for the budding business owner here as we come to the end of our time?
Let's see, parting words. I think really I do have a parting word, is when you start with analytics, keep it simple and test one thing. Don't get super excited by looking at a whole lot of potential. Stay simple and stay narrow in your first tests and eventually grow to more tests at first. But keep things simple. And Yukai, I have a parting words for you, which is thank you very much for having me on this and asking such challenging and really good questions. It forced me to really think about things as well. So thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Once again, thank you, Dean, for a great interview. And I'm sure our business owners in the audience have a much clearer understanding of the necessary skills they need to succeed with data analysis and how they can, do things well and succeed in their business. Once again, I would like to invite you, if you haven't taken that website down, go to teacupanalytics.com for any further information that you may want about Dean's work. And once again, Dean, thank you for being here with us. I'm Yokai Kajidori, and thanks for joining us here at World Outsourcing Solutions podcast. Again, this podcast is sponsored by worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Yukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.